From the border wall to deportation and asylum policies, President-elect Biden has promised a major overhaul of the Trump administration's highly criticized immigration measures.
That's right. And here to discuss what this might look like is Executive Director of the National Immigration Law Center, Marielena Hincapie. Thank you so much for being with us. And we heard President-elect Joe Biden talk about what he wants to overhaul, but this is a major, major overhaul. How confident are you that it will happen, and what would you like to see most happen as quickly as possible?
Well, first of all, buenos dias. It's wonderful to be with all of you. One of the things that Trump did that had a tremendous impact, even before he became president, was to launch a narrative war on immigrants and, of course, a policy war as well. And that impact can't be overstated. I think starting on day one, we expect that President-elect Biden and Harris will send a strong and unequivocal message to the world that the United States is once again a welcoming nation, that they understand that immigrants are essential and that we are a strength to this country. We know that he has talked about sending a bill to Congress on day one, and we believe that that bill is going to both shape the, it'll send the country a new vision for the country, a pro-immigrant vision for America, and one that includes putting the 11 million community members that we have that currently are not yet citizens, putting them on a path to citizenship.
Do you still think comprehensive immigration reform is the way to go? Some think that, hey, we've been at that for decades. It doesn't need to necessarily try to get a comprehensive, but maybe a piecemeal approach.
You know, TJ, we need a comprehensive approach. One of the things that we've seen under the Trump administration that I hope Biden and Harris understand is that they have an opportunity to actually use all of the levers of government, right? Both legislative, and that's obviously going to depend on the Georgia turnout in January. And so if the Democrats control the Senate, it'll be much easier to get legislation. We know that at the very least, what we absolutely need is legalization. We need to put people on a path to citizenship. We're talking about taxpayers. We're talking about farm workers who we rely on every day, our healthcare workers, dreamers, and essential workers. And so there's the legislative piece, but there's also the administrative work, right? There is so much work that the Biden-Harris administration are going to have to do to undo the harm of the Trump administration, and that is everything from restoring DACA. President-elect Biden has already announced a task force to reunite families, particularly for the 666 children who are still separated from their families, who are experiencing lifelong psychological harm as a result of the Trump administration's policies. And so we do know that the Biden-Harris administration will need to both enact administrative policies and work with Congress to enact legislation.
Marielena, I want to get your reaction to a big decision over the weekend that involved Dreamers, the judge ruling that the Trump administration's suspension of DACA is invalid. What is the impact of that?
Yeah, Amy, we are ecstatic about this decision. So we have the great honor at the National Immigration Law Center to represent the plaintiffs in this case. We get to celebrate this victory with the courageous plaintiffs and the many young people in our communities all across the United States that are eligible for DACA. We remain steadfast in our commitment to ensure that these young people have the freedom to thrive and to remain here in this country. This is their home.
But so much of Trump's actions actually were done through executive action, through memos, and not necessarily through Congress. So kind of a few swipes of a pen necessarily could change a lot of things. You could hope all day. What are you going to demand and expect immediately from this administration?
Absolutely, TJ. So the demands are very clear. We need to make sure that the Biden-Harris administration use all of their authority on day one, starting on day one, in the first 100 days to show the country that they are undoing the harm. And that includes, as I mentioned earlier, restoring DACA, making sure that they work with the lawyers and the organizers on the ground to reunite families, that they put family first and foremost, pressing the pause button on detention and deportation. And that requires, we demand that they are terminating contracts with private prisons that are benefiting, they are profiting from putting immigrants in detention. And that also needs to end.
Executive Director of the National Immigration Law Center, Marielena Hincapie, thank you so much for your time today. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy and TJ. Great to be with you.
She gave them a to-do list they need to get on. Well, hey.
Hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.